Everyone thought she would just take it on the chin, smile for the cameras, and wait her turn. They thought Caitlin Clark would be grateful just to be in the building, happy to sit at the end of the bench and learn from the legends. But it looks like the WNBA pushed their biggest star too far, and now the consequences are rolling in like a tidal wave. Reports are circulating that the golden girl of women's basketball has officially drawn a line in the sand, allegedly telling insiders she is done with Team USA. And the wildest part, it wasn't just the players pushing her out. It sounds like the commissioner herself, Kathy Engelbert, might have unintentionally confirmed the toxic environment that led to this shocking decision. The narrative has shifted from waiting her turn to walking away. And if the rumors are true, the league is about to lose its most valuable asset on the international stage. It started with what many are calling the biggest roster mistake in sports history, a decision that set the tone for everything that followed. When the Team USA squad was announced for Paris, the one name generating all the buzz, the name that was selling out arenas and driving TV ratings through the roof, was nowhere to be found. The selection committee hid behind the excuse of experience, claiming Clark hadn't paid her dues yet, and that the team needed veteran chemistry to secure the gold. But let's be real, nobody bought that for a second. It felt personal. While the world was tuning in to see her logo threes and flashy assists, the powers that be decided to bench her for the entire summer before she even stepped on the court. It was a loud, undeniable message to the rookie. You might be famous, you might be rich, but you aren't one of us yet. But that snub was just the tip of the iceberg. If leaving her off the roster was a cold shoulder, what happened inside the league once the game started was a straight-up assault. From the moment the season tipped off, it was open season on Clark. We saw the blindside hip checks, specifically the infamous moment with Chanity Carter that sent Clark sprawling to the floor before the ball was even in play. We saw the hard shoves, the face guarding, and the constant physical targeting that went way beyond normal basketball competitiveness. But the real issue wasn't just the players doing it, it was the deafening silence from the top. The league office seemed to look the other way, almost as if they were okay with their rookie sensation getting hazed on national television. They refused to suspend players immediately. They hesitated to upgrade fouls to flagrants until the public outrage grew too loud to ignore, and they let the narrative spiral out of control. This lack of protection culminated in a moment that changed everything. Just when things seemed to be cooling down, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert stepped in and poured gasoline on the fire. In a recent interview on CNBC that can only be described as a PR nightmare, she tried to downplay the toxicity directed at Clark by comparing it to the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird rivalry of the. She sat there, smiling, and spoke about marketing, valuation, and how great this rivalry was for the business of the league. She completely failed to condemn the very real dark clouds of racism and vitriol that had been hanging over the fan base and the players. It was a massive blunder. By treating the hate and the physical targeting as just another business metric to be capitalized on, she essentially validated Clark's feelings of isolation. It sent a clear signal that the league cares more about the drama and the dollars than the safety and mental well-being of the player bringing in those dollars. The backlash to the commissioner's comments was immediate and furious. The WNBA Players Association, usually a group that stands by the league's growth, had to issue a statement distancing themselves from Engelbert's take. Players like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier had to step up and say what the commissioner wouldn't, that there is no place for hate in the sport. But for Clark, the damage was likely already done. Imagine being the employee bringing in record profits, charter flights for everyone, and massive TV deals, only to have your boss go on national television and say that the people attacking you are just good for business. That is the kind of betrayal that makes a person rethink their loyalty. And that is exactly where the quit rumors are stemming from. You can't talk about this situation without addressing the elephant in the room, the deep-seated resentment from the old guard. For years, Team USA has been a closed club, dominated by the same legends, the same circle of friends who have played together for over a decade. Rumors have been flying for months that certain veteran players made it clear they didn't want the Caitlin circus disrupting their chemistry in Paris. It wasn't just about basketball fit, it was about the spotlight. Diana Taurasi famously warned that reality is coming for Clark, a quote that aged poorly as Clark proceeded to break rookie records and lead the league by freezing her out of the Olympics. The veterans thought they were protecting their legacy and their locker room sanctity. Instead, they might have just destroyed the bridge to the future generation. They won the gold, sure, but they lost the public relations war, and they alienated the millions of new fans who only tuned in to see number 20. This is where the story takes a sharp permanent turn. According to new speculation and whispers from insiders, Clark isn't just sitting at home sad about missing the flight to Paris, she's allegedly making moves to protect her own brand. The word on the street is that after being benched by the Olympic Committee, physically targeted by her peers, and left unprotected by the commissioner, Clark has decided to pull her energy away from the U national program. It's a power move of the highest order. She knows she generates the ratings. She knows she drives the jersey sales and the ticket revenue. If Team USA doesn't want her, she doesn't need them. She's bigger than the badge right now, and she knows it. The rumor is that she has privately signaled she has no interest in future invitations. If the current culture remains in place, if this walkout is real, the fallout is going to be astronomical. We are talking about the face of the sport potentially refusing to represent the country because of league politics and a lack of support. It turns the tables completely. The WNBA and Team USA banked on the idea that players need the system to survive, that the honor of the Olympics is the ultimate carrot to dangle. But Clark has proven she is the system. By allegedly quitting the national team setup, she deprives them of their biggest marketing asset for the next 4 years leading up to the Los Angeles Olympics. It's a financial disaster waiting to happen, and the commissioner is left holding the bat. They needed her face on the billboards for LA 20. Without her, they are trying to sell a product that the new massive audience isn't buying. Let's look at the numbers, because they paint a brutal picture for the league if Clark actually walks away. Before she arrived, the WNBA was struggling to turn a profit, flying commercial, and playing in front of half-empty arenas. Since she was drafted, attendance is up over 40% league-wide, TV ratings have tripled, and the league signed a historic media rights deal worth over $2 billion. That money is what pays for the higher salaries and the better travel conditions that all the veterans are now enjoying. The irony is suffocating. The veterans and the league office are treating her like an outsider, yet they are all cashing the checks that her popularity wrote. If she decides to focus solely on the Indiana Fever and ignore the global duties of Team USA, she is effectively taking her ball and going home, leaving the national team to rely on the old guard who simply do not move the needle the same way. The specific incident with the commissioner really needs to be dissected to understand why Clark would make such a drastic decision. When Engelbert was asked about the dark side of the social media discourse, the racism, the misogyny, the threats, she pivoted to a corporate answer about rivalries. She tried to frame it like the heated NBA battles of the 80s. But those battles, while physical, didn't involve the kind of toxicity we are seeing now. By failing to draw a line, the commissioner made it seem like the league was complicit. It felt like she was saying, as long as people are watching, we don't care how they treat you. For a young player like Clark, who has stayed silent and professional through it all, that had to feel like a knife in the back. It validated every conspiracy theory that the league is using her for clout, while secretly resenting her success. And let's not forget the chemistry excuse used to keep her off the Olympic team. The selection committee claimed they didn't have time to integrate her into the system. They said her style of play, fast-paced, high usage, deep shooting, wouldn't mesh with the slow, methodical style of the veteran. But anyone who watched the WNBA All-Star game saw how ridiculous that argument was. In that game, Clark played alongside the other WNBA stars against Team USA, and they wiped the floor with the Olympic squad. Clark was dropping dimes, hitting shots, and making her teammates better instantly. It proved that the chemistry issue wasn't about basketball, it was about ego. The Team USA players looked slow and disjointed, while Clark's team looked like the future. That game was the moment the quit narrative shifted from a rumor to a distinct possibility. Why would she want to join a system that is actively betting against her style of play? There is also the Sheryl Swoopes factor. The WNBA legend has been one of the most vocal critics of Clark, constantly moving the goalposts on what counts as greatness. From falsely claiming Clark played 5 years in college to downplaying her records, Swoopes has been the voice of the old generation's bitterness. And yet, the league has continued to employ her for commentary and analysis. For Clark, seeing the league pay someone who actively tries to discredit her achievements is just another sign of the disrespect. It's a toxic work environment. In any other job, if a senior consultant went on public podcasts and lied about a top performer's resume to make them look bad, HR would get involved. In the WNBA, it's just content. This constant chipping away at her credibility is likely a major factor in her desire to distance herself from the league's inner circle. The silence from Clark's camp speaks volumes. Usually when rumors like this spiral, an agent or a PR rep will step in to squash them. They'll release a statement saying, "Caitlin is proud to represent her country and looks forward to future opportunities." But we haven't heard a peep. That silence is deafening. It suggests that the conversations happening behind closed doors are serious. It suggests that she is weighing her options and realizing that she holds all the leverage. She doesn't need the Olympics to build her brand. She is already a global icon, but the Olympics desperately need her to stay relevant to the casual fan. Think about the physical toll this season took on her. The constant double teaming, the full court pressure, the physical blows that weren't called. She played the most minutes, took the most hits, and still dragged her team to the playoff. And after all that, instead of getting support from the league, she got a commissioner who couldn't even defend her character against hate. It is the classic case of an organization failing its star talent. We've seen this in the NBA with players demanding trades or sitting out when they feel disrespected. Clark is essentially pulling a load management decision on an international scale. She is prioritizing her body and her mental health over a gold medal that the committee didn't want her to have in the first place. The fan reaction to all of this has been a civil war. On one side, you have the OG to WNBA fans, who think Clark is overhyped and that the league was fine before she got there. On the other side, you have the millions of new fans who feel that Clark is being mistreated and bullied. This divide is bad for business. The commissioner's job is to bridge that gap, to unite the fan base. Instead, her comments widen the divide. By confirming that she views the conflict as a marketing tool, she alienated the new fans who feel protective of Clark. If Clark quits Team USA, those fans are going with her. They aren't going to tune in to watch a team that rejected their favorite player. The ratings for the Olympics were high this year, but without Clark in 2028, in Los Angeles on home soil, it could be a disaster. We also have to consider the Angel Reese factor. The rivalry between Clark and Reese is the hottest thing in sports, born in the college championship and carried over to the pros. But the league has struggled to manage it. They've allowed it to turn nasty with fans crossing the line and players feeding into the toxicity. When Reese cheered on her teammate for hip-checking Clark, it was a bad look. But again, the league did nothing. They let the Bad Boys Pistons narrative run wild because it generated clicks. But there is a difference between hard-nosed basketball and target. Clark has taken the high road every single time, refusing to engage in the trash talk, refusing to play the victim. But everyone has a breaking point. Walking away from Team USA might be her quiet, professional way of saying, "I'm done with the drama." The implications for the Los Angeles Olympics are supposed to be the crowning moment for women's sports in America. It's supposed to be the moment the WNBA takes over the world, but you cannot have that moment without the most famous female athlete on the planet. If Clark sticks to her guns and refuses to play, the US team will still be good. They have incredible depth, but they won't be cultural icons. They will just be a basketball team. Clark brings the celebrity factor. She brings the people who don't care about basketball. Without her, the event loses its luster. The commissioner knows this, which is why the panic is starting to set in. Now let's look at the financial ultimatum. The WNBA players are opting out of their collective bargaining agreement. They want more money, better benefits, and a bigger slice of the pie. They are banking on the revenue growth that Clark brought to the table. But if Clark is at war with the league and the national program, that growth is not guaranteed. If she decides to take a sabbatical, or if she simply stops promoting the league's initiatives, that leverage disappears. The other players need to realize that biting the hand that feeds them is a dangerous game. They wanted the private jets. They wanted the $1 million salary, but they didn't want the phenomenon that made it all possible. You can't have it both ways. There is a tragic element to this too. Caitlin Clark grew up dreaming of playing for Team USA. You can see it in her old interviews. She wanted to be the next Sue Bird, the next Diana Taurasi. To have those very idols turn their backs on her, to have the system reject her, must be heartbreaking. It's a loss of innocence for her and for the sport. It reveals the ugly side of professional athletics. The jealousy, the politics, the gatekeeping. When she eventually does speak on this, it won't be with anger. It will likely be with disappointment.
And that disappointment is what will resonate with the fans. They saw a young girl come in and try to lift everyone up, only to be dragged down by the people she idolized. The benching wasn't just about minutes on the floor. It was a benching of her influence. The selection committee wanted to show that the system is bigger than the individual. They wanted to prove that they could win without the Clark effect. And technically, they were right. They won the gold. But the margin of victory was smaller than expected. And the excitement was lower than it could have been. They won the battle, but lost the war. They proved they could win games, but they failed to capture the moment. And in the era of viral moments and global branding, capturing the moment is everything. Clark represents the future. The committee chose the past. So, where do we go from here? The ball is in the commissioner's court. She has to fix this relationship, and fast. She needs to issue a real apology, not a corporate word salad statement. She needs to show Clark that the league values her safety and her dignity more than they value a manufactured rivalry. If she doesn't, this quit rumor will become a reality. Clark has the resources to build her own empire. She could start her own camps, her own leagues, her own media company. She doesn't need the WNBA to be Caitlin Clark, but the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark to be relevant. The WNBA had a golden ticket, and they might have just ripped it in half. Between the Olympic snub, the on-court targeting, and the commissioner's tone-deaf comments, it's no wonder Caitlin Clark is reportedly looking for the exit door regarding Team USA. They wanted her to wait her turn, but she might just decide to play a different game entirely. If she really walks away from the national team, the league has no one to blame but themselves. They prioritize the comfort of the veterans over the potential of the rookie. They prioritize the status quo over the revolution. And now, they might have to watch the revolution happen without them. The next few months are going to be critical. Will we see a reconciliation? Will the veterans extend an olive branch, or will the divide continue to grow? One thing is for certain, Caitlin Clark is no longer just a rookie happy to be there. She is a business, a brand, and a force of nature. She has realized her worth, and she is no longer willing to accept the disrespect. The confirmation that the commissioner gave that the league views her struggles as marketing fodder was the final straw. The WNBA might have won the gold in Paris, but they are on the verge of losing the golden goose. Do you think Clark is making the right move by standing up for herself, or should she have kept quiet and waited for The answer to that question might determine the future of women's basketball for the next decade.